Lunchly is here, but is it here to stay? Well, who knows, but this is a doctor really breaking it down, so let's check it out.
Let's take a look at the science of Lunchly, including a true issue with their kits I don't think anyone has correctly pointed out yet. But now what about Lunchly? Starting with the first claim, in the press release announcing the product, Logan Paul was quoted as saying Lunchly is a healthier alternative and that it's a better for you lunch option compared to Lunchables.
Now, I've heard this too, and I watched one other video on this before this, but like, apparently it's not that hard to be much healthier than Lunchables. So, like, saying that you're a healthier option than Lunchables isn't that easy. Like, get real cheese. Done.
In fact, throughout the Lunchly website and the social media promo posts, you'll see countless comparisons being made to Lunchables. To be honest, some of the comparisons are kind of cringe and don't make much sense to me, but maybe that's because I'm not the target demo. Flavorful combos versus standard picks? The meal kit combos are nearly identical to Lunchables. Big gestures versus mid moments? I certainly don't remember that lesson in my nutrition classes. I was more concerned with the nutritional comparisons being made anyway, so if someone was to make a healthy meal kit for kids, I would find that incredibly valuable. And in looking in the comparison, I'd be most interested in calories, which they have, protein, which they have, sugar, which they have, saturated fat, which is missing, and sodium, which is not only missing, but replaced by electrolytes. And unlike—
Oh, nah. It's the same thing. But is that allowed? Can you just not have your label there? Like, they're missing saturated fats. Every like food item with a label has saturated fats on it. And if there were none, you just put 0. So their saturated fats are probably through the roof.
all the other macros, is only labeled potassium and only in the Prime bottle in the kit, comparing it to the Capri Sun in the Lunchables. This is a pretty weird marketing choice to label electrolytes in food products. It's such a strange choice that it even stunned fellow Dr. Brian Suterer, who tweeted,
"Sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day."
And sadly was ashamed to see Logan attack instead of starting a meaningful dialogue with—
He said, crazy how even a sports medicine doctor can't tell the difference between sodium and potassium. The referenced 400 milligrams of electrolytes is the potassium in Prime, you idiot. Jeez, bro. Dang. Y'all can't take criticism? Like, how is he really supposed to know that you're getting the... And I don't think that's all the way true. Sodium can easily be replaced for electrolytes. Potassium, like banana. Come on now.
With the doctor, given that 400 milligrams is not the amount of electrolytes in Prime, at least in the image that Logan shared. 400 milligrams of potassium plus 5 milligrams of sodium equals 405 milligrams of electrolytes. It's not about nitpicking, it's just about being reasonable and honest to help further the conversation. Look, if I want to decide if a food is right for me, I like to be able to compare the entire electrolyte profile, which would have to include sodium. It's like having a PB&J sandwich label that says what's in the sandwich, you know, protein, fats, calories, but then the sugar line only tells you what's in the peanut butter as opposed to the jelly in the entire sandwich. I wanted to go further and do the comparisons myself using the nutrition facts from the Lunchables and Lunchly websites, and it's honestly really hard to draw perfectly clear conclusions for several reasons. One, I don't have nutrition facts for each part of the kits. For example, how many calories come from Feastables versus the food component? Second, some of the portion sizes aren't the same. The turkey cracker kit from Lunchables is 82 grams, while Lunchly's is 72 grams. Three, there are so many
So you're telling me that Lunchables has more food in their box, and because the price is higher by like $2 whole, right? So it's a $4 box. So I'm getting more food for less money, because that's all I'm focused on. I don't care if there's PFSs or whatever is in the Lunchable. I want to eat, okay?
varieties of Lunchables that just swapping out the flavor of Capri Sun caused significant differences in sugar and calorie content. What I was able to conclude is that Lunchly has less sugar and therefore less calories than Lunchables in comparable kits. That's probably due to the drink component of the kit, as Capri Sun uses sugar and Prime is artificially sweetened. Lunchly has significantly more potassium than Lunchables because of the Prime drink, which I guess is good, but not something I'd regularly use in deciding if a food is an ideal lunch for a kid. Lunchly has slightly less sodium and saturated fat than comparable Lunchables. That's definitely moving in the right direction, however, both differences were fairly small. Lunchly does use real cheese as opposed to cheese product, signaling that at least one ingredient is less processed than in Lunchables, but the entirety of the kit is still considered an ultra-processed meal. Lunchly has higher amounts of A and B vitamins.
They're both ultra processed meals. The only thing they switched about it was the cheese. Can Lunchables sue for defamation? Because they just did the same thing.
Which can be good, but also can be problematic as vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, and kids can easily overconsume it, leading to toxicity. Being that it's fat-soluble means that you can't just urinate excess out. This has actually been raised as an issue by experts with Prime in general. Despite these legitimate upgrades, social media posts are slamming Lunchly for not being perfect. But Lunchly does not need to be perfect to be valuable for kids. It just needs to be significantly healthier in order to reduce risk. As a doctor, I use risk reduction all the time, essentially taking something harmful and replacing it with something less harmful, but still imperfect.
Yeah, but I'm paying double the price.
Example, I would never recommend starting vaping, but getting someone to replace smoking cigarettes with vaping is generally a good step down in terms of health risk. Knowing all that, is it fair to say that Lunchly
I thought vaping was worse than smoking. I thought one vape was like a whole pack of cigarettes. I mean, I wouldn't know. He's the doctor. I'm sorry.
is healthier? I guess one can say yes, but honestly, probably more so as a marketing tactic. The reason why? Well, let's look at the recently passed nutrition standards set forth by the USDA for school lunches and see how Lunchly compares. Going line by line here. Less than 10% of calories should come from saturated fat. Lunchly turkey, 23% of calories come from saturated fat. Less than 10% of calories should come from added sugars. Lunchly turkey, 10.4 comes from added sugars. But this is where things get really interesting, and for some reason, no one has pointed this out. You see, USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Kids need energy to function, and calories give them that energy. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories. And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is also significantly over the USDA standards. So they'd be either under-eating calories or overeating sodium. Finally, the grain guidelines state that 80% of lunch meals must be whole grain, and Lunchly turkey does not list any whole grain ingredients.
I'm sorry, this is not looking good for Lunchly over here. Bro, just the name, I can't even. Lunchly versus Lunchables. There's basically no difference.
It's clear Lunchly, just like Lunchables, misses the mark too many times to be considered meaningfully healthier, at least in my opinion. That being said, I do think many criticisms pointed at Logan, KSI, and Jimmy are unfair. Attacking them for trying to create a successful influencer product isn't inherently problematic. I just think if a company was truly interested in creating a healthier lunch kit for kids, the USDA standards should be the minimum starting requirements. Otherwise, we're simply propagating the problem even further. One of my hopes is that in navigating the future feedback on this company, the guys hire a health professional to guide them in making messages.
Honestly, that would be a W if they actually get like everything lowered, all the sodium or whatever, or the electrolytes, or you know. But like if they actually fix it, it would actually be like good, like
more accurate. I just saw someone ask about heavy metal contamination, and Logan responded with a video of an X-ray machine checking for foreign materials. That checks for stray objects accidentally getting into the meals, not heavy metal contaminations like we discussed earlier with Lunchables and lead. And saying a food has more electrolytes, therefore it must be better or healthier, is just not true. Foods with an incredibly high sodium content and electrolyte are not considered particularly healthy. In fact, many are considered unhealthy for that reason. I can't expect non-medical people to get this perfect, but if you're gonna stand by a children's food product being healthy, you need to hold your messaging to a higher standard. Eating a diet full of UPFs can lead
Yes, Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike take. Subby dubby. Subscribe.